We're going to do an OEM remote activated semi plug-and play remote starter on a 2009 Toyota Tundra. This is a non-G-key vehicle. There is no G stamped on the key. There's only this little dot. The installation is pretty close to the G-Key Tundra installation with a few variations. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and remove the lower dash. This unit has a trailer brake, so we're going to get rid of this thing first. It's using the 1/4 inch. I'm going to go ahead and unscrew that. Remove these Phillips screws. Well, one's a Phillips, one's a regular. Just in case they are into any metal behind the dash here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to remove the side panel. At this point, we're going to pop out this lower kick. Just enough to get in there and sneak out this 10mm bolt. Now we're going to pull a 10mm from the side. And we go ahead and we're going to remove the lower dash. Sometimes you need some persuasion up top. Use our trusty plastic tool. Okay, we're going to go ahead, we're going to drop the lower dash. I'm going to first have to unplug any of these accessories that you have. So we're unplugging all of the switches here. Got a couple on this side. Now on the bottom, I have a couple plugs also. I have a light bulb. We're going to turn, remove the light bulb. Then we're going to unplug this last plug on the bottom. We're also going to push on this clip a little bit to release the hood latch. Once we push on the clip, we'll be able to slide the latch backwards and remove it. At this point, we're going to bring the cable to the side, and we're going to take off the hood release cable from the hood release. You know, they have this zip tied up in here. We're going to cut these zip ties so we can release the bottom panel. Okay. Now we can remove the lower dash panel. At this point, we're going to remove this protective plate, 10mm. Now this vehicle may have a plow in it, so there's going to be some extra wiring. Okay, now we're going to release the diagnostic plug from its holder by pushing in the ears on the side and popping the diagnostic plug out. We're then going to go ahead and we're going to release this clip here from the metal plate. And remove the metal plate from the vehicle. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to removing the steering column cover plastic. We have Phillips screws located at the front of the steering column cover plastic. We're going to turn the steering wheel so we can access the Phillips screw and remove it. We're going to remove the Phillips screw. And we're going to turn the wheel to the opposite side. And we're going to remove the Phillips screw on that side. Okay, this will allow us to remove our steering column cover plastic. I'm going to recenter the wheel. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove the plastic. We're going to apply pressure to the side with our thumb while we remove the steering column cover plastic. Once it's unclipped, we're going to pull out so we can clear the ignition switch, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove the column cover plastic piece. This will give us access to the ignition switch. I'm going to go ahead and show you what we need to do. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to unplug the main ignition switch to the vehicle. We're going to go ahead and we're going to press the release clip down while we unplug the main ignition plug. Okay, we're going to plug our ignition portion of our T-harness into the vehicle's ignition. Now we're going to plug the vehicle's ignition switch into the other end of our T-harness. At this point, we're going to find a system ground. We have to use a ground where there's no plastic involved, just metal. Okay, we've located a good spot for a system ground. There's a 10 millimeter nut here on the BCM here that holds the BCM up in. We're going to go ahead and we're going to ground it, and I will give you a close-up of that ground. Okay, so we've got the ground tight. We're going to go ahead with the next step. From here, we're going to be dealing with another plug. This is a plug on the BCM that we're going to interrupt. We're going to go ahead and we're going to unplug the plug from the BCM and make our interruption. So we've unplugged the top plug, and we're going to plug our plug into the BCM, and then we're going to plug the BCM plug into our plug. At this point, we can continue on with the installation. In our instructions, it's showing the key sense wire. It's saying that it is gray in color. On the vehicle, if you notice, we're at the lower BCM plug. We've unplugged it, and we're going to look at the harness. In the position for key sense is this light green wire. We're going to go ahead, we're going to make our connection to the light green wire. Now, it's always at this pin. The color can vary, so please note what pin we're connected to. We're going to install a posi-tap and make our connection. Okay, we're going to go ahead and unscrew our posi-tap. We're going to place the groove around the wire, and we're going to screw the posi-tap back together. At this point, we can go ahead and loosen the collar, and we can insert our wire for our key sense. In this case, our wire is white with a black stripe off of our Evo. We're going to make sure that we only have 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch stripped on the wire. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put our wire into the T-tap and push it in all the way while we tighten the collar. This completes our connection for the key sense wire. We're going to go ahead and we're going to plug back into the BCM. Now the next plug we're going to want to access is the diagnostic plug. We're going to use our diagnostic plug, and we're going to plug the vehicle's diagnostic plug into the T-harness, and then this diagnostic plug becomes the new plug that we're going to mount when we reassemble the vehicle. Now, because this is a non-G-key vehicle and does not have the G-key, we're going to run this harness with the 2 wires up the steering column to our immobilizer connection. I'm going to show you an easy way to get at the immobilizer connection. The immobilizer to the vehicle is located on the ignition switch. It's actually part of this assembly that clips onto the ignition from the front. I'm going to show you how to release this if you can't reach the plug on the back. So if we're looking at the ignition switch here, if we're looking at this right here, this little nub holds on the immobilizer. We're going to pop these ears out a little bit over that nub, and we'll be able to remove the immobilizer ring from the ignition. Okay, so we're going to remove the immobilizer ring. We're going to first start by unplugging the small plug that's blocking the back. We're then going to locate our tab, and we're going to put a little outward pressure on the ring while we pull the ear of this tab back. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do that. There we go. We popped it out on both sides so we can slide the immobilizer ring right out. This is the plug we're dealing with. We're going to go ahead and we're going to unplug the immobilizer ring. Now if you look how this is, these two ears slide over the two bosses here on the ignition, and the immobilizer clips right onto the ignition switch. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to locate the wires we're going to use on the immobilizer plug and make our connections. We have our immobilizer plug. I pulled it down underneath, and remember our immobilizer ring is still separated from the plug, so we're going to put that somewhere safe. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to just get into this plastic here and remove what we need to remove to comfortably access the wires. Now remember, all orientation is looking at the plugs from the back where the wires enter. What we're going to do is we're going to locate the RX and the TX, or the code and the TX, whichever, different companies call it different things. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to locate the two wires we're going to use. Okay, we're looking at our plan. The only thing you need to concern yourself with is the RX and the TX located at the immobilizer plug. These are the two wires. All the other connections are done. This is a full schematic without a T-harness. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you where these connections are. As you can see in the diagram, they're right here, pin 4 and pin 5 at the immobilizer plug. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to identify them. Okay, so we're looking here. We have our TX as blue and our RX as light green. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put our posi-taps on these wires. Now these are our posi-taps. We're going to unscrew the posi-tap. Going to get the piece with the groove in it. We're going to slip the groove over the wire. And then we're going to put the posi-tap back together. When we do this, there's a needle that's going to pierce the wire and give us our connection point. So we've got it on our one wire here. Actually got it on our TX. Now we're going to put it on our RX. Okay, so we have our two posi-taps installed. I'm going to give you a close-up of what this would look like. Okay, so we're looking at our immobilizer plug. Here we are. We're on pin 5 with our TX, which is this blue wire, and then we're on pin 4, which is our RX, which is the light green wire. You can see the positions here very clearly. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make our connections. Okay, so we've run our pair of wires up to our RX and our TX connections here. We're going to connect our TX wire first to our TX wire on the vehicle. So on our instructions, it tells us what color the TX is. We're going to put the TX wire to the TX wire in the vehicle. We're going to go ahead and we're going to slide them into the posi-tap and tighten the collar. Do this, it's going to lock the wire. You need instructions on posi-tap, just search posi-tap on YouTube. Tons of videos. So we're going to do our RX now. Loosen our collar, slide our wire in, tighten the collar back down, and this will give us our connections. Now with the two connections that we have to make we're going to go ahead and we're going to program our device. But first we're going to reinstall the transponder ring. So this harness came down from here like this. We're going to route it here. We're going to plug in the immobilizer ring, but we're not going to clip it on all the way. We're going to put it really close. So we're going to set it up here, and we're just not going to click it on all the way. We're going to set it right here, and it's just before the point where it clicks on, so that if we made a mistake, we can pull it off without having to unclip it again. And that leaves our taps down here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to program our device. Be sure when you reinstall the ring, if you've unplugged this plug, you plug this back in before you start the programming procedure. If you don't plug this back in, the unit will not program. This is part of the key sense, so we need that plugged in before programming. To program the unit, we're going to locate the programming button on our device. We're going to hold it down while we plug in the main power plug. We do this, the lights in the front are going to begin to cycle. The lights will cycle for as long as we hold the button down. We want to release the button on solid red. If we screw up and we release on any color other than red, we can redo the procedure. I will show you. This time we're going to release as soon as we see the red light. Hit blue, red, release the button. Now we're going to plug the remaining connectors in. We're going to start with our 20-pin plug. Then we're going to plug in a red plug and our white plug. At this point, we're going to place our key in the ignition. We're not going to turn the ignition on. We're just going to slide the key in. The red light will blink, signifying the immobilizer is being programmed. When the red light is done flashing, we'll turn the key to the run position. The vehicle will now program the CAN bus portion to the device. Once we see the flashing blue light, we can shut the key off and remove it from the ignition. Now we can start the vehicle by 3-press. I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to hold the door pin switch down with my finger. I'm going to activate the remote starter. Okay, so I'm going to let the switch go. I'm just going to show you a picture up on the dash. Everything's running. We have no errors. We have the heat blowing as it should be. We even keep functionability of the OEM remote. It will stay functioning while the engine is running. Our device is programmed. To start the vehicle, lock the doors 3 times. This will trigger remote starting. We can also shut the vehicle off. By locking the doors 3 times. I'm going to go ahead. Now the vehicle is started and running. I'm going to show you that the keyless entry remains functional while the engine is running. We're going to want to look inside the case at this light while we're programming our antenna kit. We want to make sure that our light is not blinking. If our light's blinking like this, the Evo's in an armed status and will not accept programming of an RF antenna kit. We must unlock the vehicle using the OEM remote to get it out of the armed status. We can now begin to program our remotes. To add the 642W, we're going to watch the light inside. We're going to place our key in the ignition, turn the key to the run position. We're now going to press and hold the program button on our device. The light inside will begin to flash fast. This happens, we release the button, then we press and release 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We press and release the brake pedal. And we're going to press the bottom button and the top button on each remote we're introducing. The Evo will accept the remotes. When we're done, we'll shut the key off and remove it from the ignition. We can now lock, unlock, and start our vehicle from our RF642 long-range 2-way remote. Shut the vehicle down. Okay, here's our unit secured up in front of the BCM.